Drink with James, episode 168. I am a little bit sick, so I'm having a white Negroni, which I don't know if that's gonna help or not, but it certainly can't hurt, see? So I've been sick. It's Wednesday. I've been sick all week, which is like super frustrating. I hate being sick. Obviously, everyone, most people don't like being sick. There are some people that spend their whole lives pretending to be sick. They like being sick. What are those people called? What's that condition? No, not narcoleptics. That's people who just fall asleep.
It's like Munchausen.
Munchausen's syndrome.
Like that, yeah.
Yes, Munchausen's syndrome is when you pretend to be sick constantly, so people have to take care of you. That's not me. I'm a little bit sick, but like not sick enough to stay home, but also sick enough that sometimes I'm sitting in the office like doing something, and then all of a sudden I'm just like drooling on myself, being like, "Why the fuck was I doing? Where am I? What am I doing?" My brain is not really like functioning at the pace that I would like it, which is very frustrating to me. But we're here. We're gonna make it happen. There's exciting things going on. At 4, we released last week Testimonials 2.0. So we talked about this a few months ago, the ability for y'all to go out to your audience and get them to leave you testimonials. You can now view all of those testimonials. You can feature testimonials that you want shown on your page. You can also download any testimonials as an Insta story, and you can see this little section where your audience answered questions about where they find you influential, if they purchase products based on your posts, and if so, how often they do that. Interesting evolution of the tool. If you haven't gone out and gotten testimonials yet, do it. It's super easy. You go to your page, you download the stories, grab the link, drive your followers to that link, and they'll just start rolling in. But if you haven't checked it out, you haven't been back to your 4 account in a while, bounce over there and check it out. Something else worth talking about in the news is the Mark Zuckerberg, Elizabeth Warren battle going on, although it's not really a battle yet. But if you didn't see, he said in a all hands, all team meeting, one of his town hall Q&As that, essentially he was kind of afraid of Warren being president, and if she became president, she has said that she is going to break Facebook up. That is one of her goals. And he said if that happens that they would go down fighting and they'd take her to the mat, I think was the exact verbiage there. What is interesting is I remember reading something many years ago that was like, if you look at civilization and how the world has been kind of run and controlled, early on it was religions that ran the world. Really, countries didn't matter as much as like the Catholic Church. So religions kind of cross borders ran the world, and then there were empires that ran the world. And there were, quite a few of those, culminating with the last one, which would be the British Empire. And then there were just countries. And obviously America's enjoyed its time as I don't know if we've enjoyed it, but enjoyed our time as the leaders of the world. And I've heard it said that like the next iteration is that companies will become more powerful than countries. And certainly Facebook is more powerful than most of the countries in the world. Who has more sway over the world? Facebook or England? Probably Facebook. There are probably only a handful of countries that are more powerful than Facebook. One of them being America, the fact that we could, our government could make it very difficult or impossible for them to operate. I think Facebook and Google specifically certainly have become players in the geopolitical space. And it's a scary thing. It should scare everyone that the CEO of the most powerful news organization in the world, essentially, or at least the news delivery organization in the world, is kind of taking sides and saying that he is really not excited about this person becoming president. Do I think that, on Mark Zuckerberg's orders, they're going to change their algorithm and suppress, positive news about Elizabeth Warren? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Is that possible? Absolutely. Do people do fucking crazy things when hundreds of billions of dollars of wealth are at stake? Yes, they absolutely do crazy things when hundreds of billions of dollars of wealth are at stake. That is scary. You know, a vast majority of the world gets their news through Facebook, and it is unsettling to hear from the top those kind of fighting words. And I think that you know, we should be wary for our democracy, and we should be thinking about these things, because the world is changing at a fairly alarming rate, and once you give someone power, it is very difficult to take it back. If I've learned anything from Lyndon Johnson, which I have. Ask me anything about Lyndon Johnson, as I just finished 5,000 pages on his life. Let's jump into questions. Question number 1, is Instagram ruining the world, specifically the natural world? So there was this article about how Instagram is ruining all these national parks because people are going to them specifically to get photos. There was articles when the super bloom was happening in California about people laying in the poppy fields and ruining those. If you've been to Venice anytime in the last 2 years, you realize what a fucking nightmare it is in the summer. Instagram has certainly increased travel, and I think that when people travel, they increasingly they think about the photos that they're going to take. And so if they're going to Yosemite, they definitely look through the location tags and they look at the photos they want, and they find the ones that really do quite well and they want to replicate them. I actually saw my friend who works at Instagram, Christy. I'm not going to give her last name because you guys will fucking hound her and she doesn't need that. But I saw Christy recently was at Yosemite, and she was commenting on this and saying that you know, she was shooting that rock, that like ledge that people take photos on, and she was saying that, you know, she clicked on the location tag and it just made her really sad to see the risks people were taking with their lives to get content. And recently a couple died in that exact spot. A newlywed couple died trying to get an Instagram photo. And it's easy to you know, for people to poke fun at that maybe, because it is ridiculous. As an influencer, you have to understand that people will probably try and replicate the things you're doing. Just look at the Bend It Like Tezza hashtag. Now, the worst that can happen there is like if I tried, I'd like throw my back out or like pull a hammy or something, but people will try and replicate things that they see doing well on Instagram. And if you are doing dangerous things, especially if you're someone like one of those fucking parkour freaks or something, and you're like jumping around on shit and hanging off the sides of buildings. I don't know that many people hanging off buildings are watching this show. But I do think that you have to understand that those things are going to try and be replicated by your audience, and that those are dangerous, and you might be responsible for somebody getting hurt. Another side of this, other than crowding European cities or national parks, is just promoting this jet set life where you're constantly traveling. That feels like to a lot of people that is what success looks like, a life where they're constantly on vacation and constantly traveling. I just saw an influencer, Cubicle, I think she is on Instagram, Park and Cube, she used to be. She just recently said that she is going to try and cut down to 3 flights a month. And she's like, that may seem like a lot, but I was doing 10 or 15 flights a month a lot of times. And she is saying that, like, you know, to try and be more sustainable, she is going to try and limit herself to 3 flights a month, and, you know, only going to go on trips that really are impactful and that she really feels like are going to bring her joy. And I think that this concept of a endless summer and constantly traveling feels really glamorous, but it does have repercussions, not only on those places and fucking up the ecosystems of our national parks, but also on the environment in promoting, you know, jumping on a plane and pouring tons and tons of you know, pollution into the air every time you do that. And so I think it is worth thinking about, and thinking about your responsibility and thinking about the things and the lifestyles you're promoting. Question number 2. We keep talking about hiding likes, but now Facebook is talking about hiding likes and Twitter is talking about hiding likes. Everyone's hiding likes. This is the new fucking cool kids thing to do. We're all hiding likes. I don't know if I could hide likes. Maybe I'll just like start, well, I already don't like many people. So it is, I'm way ahead of the curve. I've been hiding my likes for ages. Everyone thinks I hate them. Most people do, but I digress. Facebook hiding likes, I mean, what? Like, honestly, who gives a shit? Twitter hiding likes, I think, is stupid. I do not think that's the play. I think Twitter is so much about virality and about getting things to go viral that I pay attention more when a tweet has a lot of likes. And because it's not as much about followers, but I think about your ability to get something to go viral on Twitter, that hiding likes will really make the platform significantly less interesting. There's also much less of a FOMO thing on Twitter. It's much more about being funny, being smart, articulate, or if you're a Republican, being a troll. Not all Republicans are trolls, blah, 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 blah. Don't make me fucking caveat this shit. It's about those things and less about like how great I am, look at me, look at how beautiful I am, look at how beautiful my life is. So I think removing likes would really be terrible and make the platform much less interesting. But look, old Jack Dorsey doesn't really seem to give a shit what people on Twitter are interested in, as all they ask for is please stop letting people say that they're going to chop my head off and put it in a garbage disposal, and they seem to do nothing about bullying. So he probably will do it. So look out for that. I'm sure the dumpster fire that is Twitter will continue to devolve. Caveat, I love Twitter and I use it constantly. And if you are a heavy Twitter user, you know it's a dumpster fire that is ruining your life, but you can't get away from it. Question number 3. Thoughts on influencers saying, not sponsored, I genuinely love it. Doesn't that undermine the sponsored post they made? Yes, it does. Next question. No, it's a funny question, but like I understand and I approve of influencers being like, hey, this isn't sponsored. Also, if you're really diligent with your disclosures, you shouldn't have to say it's not sponsored. But just saying it's not sponsored is enough. I genuinely love it. It does, I think to anyone paying close attention, it does make it feel like, right, you don't genuinely love your sponsored content. I know I talk about Erica, Retro Flame, a good amount. I think she does disclosures really well. Like, she was recently gifted a stay at a hotel in Ireland, where she's from, if you can't tell from her bright red hair and her very thick Irish accent. She's from Ireland. Before she covered the hotel and her stay, she said, hey guys, I'm really excited to stay here. I've actually paid to stay here before. This time they gifted the room. So anytime I talk about the hotel, or if they gifted me an experience, I'm gonna put #gifted there, just so you guys know. And then she went through her stay and always had that disclosure. And I thought that was a really kind of upfront way to deal with it. And following her for years now, she's always super transparent with her disclosures. And so when there's no disclosure, I know it's not sponsored. And she's built that trust, I think, over years. So I think the best way to delineate your sponsored from your organic content is not to be like, hey guys, this isn't sponsored, I actually just really love it, because that does undermine your partnerships. But instead to just be very upfront, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed, don't try and hide that it's an ad, don't try and hide that it's sponsored with a little hashtag in the bottom right-hand corner of your story. Be upfront about it. In conclusion, I think the best way to separate your sponsored from your organic content is to just be super upfront about what is sponsored. You should be excited about the partnerships. You should say, I am super excited to be showing you guys this. I've been using it for weeks. It's really worked. I love this brand. I think you guys are gonna love it. these posts are sponsored. I'm going to be really upfront about that. And so then your organic content will stand alone because it will be different and you're not trying to hide what is sponsored and what isn't. Don't be afraid of putting out there that something is sponsored, but also just so we remember, don't also make 50% of your feed sponsored. That also does not work at all. I'm sick. We've got an event tonight, which means somehow I have to breathe life into this corpse with perfect hair. So I'm going to go and do that, and I will see you guys next week.